Lokanam hitakarino tribhuvane manyo sharanya karo. Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalago. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. So this particular sloka from the Sat Goswami Ashtakam was chosen by Srila Prabhupada as the invocation for the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is the law book of the Vaishnavas worldwide. Srila Rupa Goswami, we can see here that the contemporaries were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was born first in 1486, and just 2 years younger than him was Sanatana Goswami, and only 1 year younger was Rupa Goswami. There were many brothers, but the 3 brothers, Sanatana, Rupa, and Sri Vallabha, they together became disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Raghunath Das Goswami, he was also their associate, just a little bit younger than the other Goswamis. And we see that Krishnadas Kaviraj, born 1517, he came long after, when the Goswamis had already been residing in Vrindavan, and he came there to associate with them. And from his masterpiece, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have most of the information about Srila Rupa Goswami and the mercy that he received from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita after both Sanatana and Rupa had left this world. But he had enough association with Sanatana, Rupa, and Raghunath Das Goswami. He also included in his Chaitanya Charitamrita over 200 slokas from Rupa Goswami's writings. Now the family lineage of Rupa and Sanatan and Sri Vallabha, in the Bhakti Ratnakara, they trace it back to 7 generations, that they were Saraswata Bharadwaj Gotra Brahmanas from Karnataka. They were Telugu speaking, and the from the 7th generation, that was Sarvagya Jagatguru. He was actually the king of Karnataka. And not only was he a king, but he was a Raja Rishi. He was very learned in the Shastras. Then his son Aniruddha followed in his father's footsteps. And then Aniruddha had 2 sons. Rupeshwar, that is the line that Rupa Goswami comes in. And Rupeshwar's brother drove him out of the kingdom, and he settled then, he went from Karnataka to West Bengal and settled in Naihati. So that is how the family then came to Bengal. Padmanabh's son Mukunda was also in Naihati. Then his son Kumara, they moved to Bangladesh, to Jessore. In Jessore, we have a temple there that's considered to be the birthplace of Rupa Goswami. But different biographers, some say that Rupa Goswami was born in Jessore, some say he was born in Malda, and some say he was born in Naihati. So the date they have, but where the exact birthplace was, we accept as Jessore, and that's where we have our temple honoring Rupa Goswami. So by birth, because they were Bhatta Goswamis, Santosh Bhatta was Rupa, Amar Bhatta was Sanatan, and Sri Balabh was Anupam Malik. That was the initiated name of Sri Balabh, Anupam. Now what happened was, if you study the different Goswamis have different descriptions of how Rupa, Sanatan, and Sri Balabh were forced into the service of Nawab Hussain Shah. At that time, for 200 years, the Pathans had been ruling northern India. And Nawab Hussain Shah, he was in charge of the area of Bengal. And he was very ambitiously taking over more and more land. In fact, his next conquering was going to be Orissa. But what happened was, there was a big tower that was built in honor of Nawab Hussain Shah. And he was very pleased with the tower, and he was on the top of the tower with the mason who had built it. And the mason, in a service attitude, he said humbly, he said, "I can build better than this for you." And the Nawab, being very proud and arrogant, he mistook what the mason said and thought that he was insulting him and had him thrown off of the tower and killed. And when you have full power, then you can do anything you want to do. So he killed the very mason who built the tower. And then he pointed to his minister and he said, "You go to Ramakeli." And the minister had no idea why he should go to Ramakeli, but he thought, I better go immediately, otherwise I'll end up off of the tower too. So he left and he went to Ramakeli, and he's arriving in Ramakeli, he doesn't know why he's arrived there, and 2 very scholarly, educated Brahmins come up to him and say, "Oh, you're looking for a mason?" Because though the minister didn't know, everyone in Ramakeli knew that the masons, the best masons, were from Ramakeli, and that was why Nawab Hussain Shah sent the minister there. So he found a mason, brought him back to the Nawab, and told him about these 2 scholars that he had met. Now the Mulab, that's the guru of Nawab Hussain Shah, had once predicted to him that there will be 2 scholarly Brahmins, and if you can get them into your service, then your kingdom will be very prosperous. So then the Nawab could understand that these 2 men who assisted his minister were the 2 Brahmins that he was looking for. And it was at that time that he forced them into government service. But this forcing, because they were forced to be in the service of the Mohammedan ruler, because the Hindu society was very strict at that time, they were ostracized from the Brahminical community because they had to associate with Yavanas and Mlechas in their work. They had very high positions. One was the financial minister, one was the chief minister, and they were even given Muslim names. Rupa Goswami became Dabir Kash, and Sanatana Goswami became Sakar Malik. And practically they were running the entire government as Hussein Shah was going on different conquests to get more and more land. Because they had a lot of power, they were also given very good salaries as government officers. And they had originally come from Jessore to Ramakeli to study Nyaya Shastra. And they were studying under Vasudev Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his brother. So they were studying, and they had now huge facility with their positions, and they used that all in Krishna's service. They had palatial homes, and they made their homes into replicas of Vrindavan. They had groves of Kadamba, and within those groves they had Radhakund and Shamakund, and they would go there and meditate on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And they were always welcoming whatever saints and sages and devotees were passing through Ramakeli. And they always had a huge assembly of Brahmins speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam and other Shastras. So they used their wealth properly. And because many people were coming at that time from Navadvip and Nadia district, they got to hear about Lord Chaitanya because they were contemporaries. And they had a very strong desire to get the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But because of their service, they could not leave Ramakeli. So they would write letters to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would never reply them. Finally, they got one reply from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it's a very famous sloka. The translation is, "If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs. But within her heart, she is always relishing feelings of association with her paramour." So this sloka is also mentioned in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Rupa and Sanatan, being very intelligent, they could understand the inner meaning of this sloka, that you do your work and very soon you will be delivered. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started from Jagannath Puri to go to Vrindavan, he went through Bengal. And because of his attractive features and the love that the people had for him, thousands of people were following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wherever he went. And they all wanted to go with him to Vrindavan because he was going from Bengal on the main road to Vrindavan. So his entourage was, by the time he reached Ramakeli, thousands of Vaishnavas following him on the path. So because Ramakeli was the capital, the Nawab was there. And he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he was dancing in ecstasy and chanting the names of Krishna, and the thousands of followers were going with him on the road. And he asked his minister, he said, this person must be some prophet, because he's not giving these people any payment to follow him. He must be very much empowered by the Supreme Lord. And the minister, he said, no, this is nothing. He's nobody special at all, because they didn't want the Nawab to think that he would be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be a threat to him. So then he called his two ministers, Rupa and Sanatan, and asked them about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they said, no, he's nothing at all. These people will go and he's going on his way. You have nothing to worry about. So then he was pacified because Rupa and Sanatan gave him that advice. But secretly that night, finally, they got the chance to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They went incognito and met him at night in the dark to warn him that you have to leave this place immediately. And they gave him the advice. They didn't just come to give him advice, they came to meet him. And they offered so many prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From a distance they put straw in their mouth, they fell at his feet, offered beautiful prayers that are all in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and they begged for his mercy. And then after he benedicted them and assured them that very soon you will be delivered, you're my eternal associates, you have nothing to worry about, then they very humbly advised Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to leave this place immediately. And this is not the way to go to Vrindavan. You should go alone with just maybe one or two other people. Because it's all the Pathans, the Muslims, they had full control of North India. So it would create a disturbance to them, and it would be a disturbance that possibly the Vaishnavas would be harmed by them. Just as we heard about when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming back, the Pathan soldiers stopped them and gave them trouble when they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic symptoms. So they gave very good advice, and that was why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he got to Kanai Natashala, which is just on a little further, he stopped his trip. And he sent everybody back to their homes, and he returned to Jagannath Puri. And from there, he just took Balabhadra Bhattacharya and one other servant to carry his things, and went through Jharkhand forest, not on the main road, so nobody could see him. He left in the middle of the night and started on his trip to Vrindavan alone. So that was the first meeting of Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Ramakeli. So now that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had initiated the three brothers as Rupa, Sanatan, and Anupam, Rupa and Anupam, they immediately decided they were going to give up their ministerial services and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were able to do it successfully. But Sanatan Goswami, being the most important, the chief minister, he realized that the Nawab, he loves me very much because I'm always pleasing him. But if I make him angry, then he won't want me in his service anymore. So Rupa and Anupam, they wound up all their services, and they took all of their wealth and put it into 2 boats and returned to Jasor. And they very diplomatically, as a perfect example to all Vaishnavas, distributed their wealth. Prabhupada used to say that you don't give all your money to your wife and then just come to Krishna with your beads. Yes, I've renounced everything. I've given it all to my wife. And now I've come to chant Hare Krishna. No, we have to follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. And what he did was, he gave 50% of his wealth to the Vaishnavas for their services. He gave only 25% to his family members, because the family members also have to be maintained. Prabhupada also did that. They're expecting something, some type of inheritance from the father. Although of the 3 brothers, there was only one son, and that was Jiva, and he was very young at that time. He couldn't join his father. But they gave 25% of their wealth, and their wealth was crores and crores of rupees. And they kept another 25% for emergencies. And they deposited, because there were no banks at that time, people would keep their money with grocers. They would keep an amount, and then as they bought things, it would be deducted. So they kept 10,000 gold coins there in Ramekeli and sent a cryptic message to Sanatan. Because Sanatan, he went through with his plan. He made the Nawab angry at him by not coming. He was saying on sick leave, "I'm very sick, I can't come." And week after week he wasn't coming. He was at home with all the Brahmins hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So finally the Nawab, he wanted to go on his next conquest to Orissa. He was getting impatient. He sent his personal physician. The physician came back and said, "There's nothing wrong with him. He's sitting in assembly with all the Brahmins." So then the Nawab himself came and threatened him. "Either you come back to service or you go to jail." And Sanatana Goswami said, "You're the supreme controller, whatever you decide, but I have to follow my heart." So he got thrown in jail. So he used that 10,000 gold coins to be released. And he also started secretly on the back roads to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, Rupa and Anupam, they were coming and they reached Prayaga. When they were in Jasor, they sent a messenger to Puri to find out where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. They found out he had already left for Vrindavan, so that was why they immediately started for Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had reached Vrindavan, and he was in so much ecstasy there that Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he decided, I better get him out of Vrindavan while he's still alive, otherwise he'll fall in the Jamuna, or we don't know what's going to happen to him. So he was bringing him back, and when Rupa reached Prayaga, that's Prayagraj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was already there. So this was the second meeting of Rupa with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And again, so many prayers were offered. And at that time, the famous prayer that we all chant to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tvishe Namaha. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. So how was Rupa Goswami able to understand the inner identity that Mahaprabhu was hiding from everybody else in the world? Because Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, he understood the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada explains in one letter to a disciple that not all of the 6 Goswamis were eternal associates of the Lord. Rupa and Raghunath, they came from the spiritual world with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami, in the spiritual world, his eternal identity is Sri Rupa Manjari. She is the head of all of the Manjaris, that's the young maidservants, under Lalita Devi. And she gives the instructions to all the other Manjaris in their service. The Manjaris have a very special relationship with Radha and Krishna because they're young. They're not like the Sakhis, the Ashtasakis and the older Gopis, who have their own personal relationship with Krishna. The Manjaris, they get to be with Radha and Krishna when they're together, and they get to serve them. And of all the Manjaris, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, is the chief. So that is how Rupa Goswami was able to understand the inner heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and write such beautiful prayers as this. There's another prayer that's not so well known, but these are the two main prayers that they offered. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has converted all three worlds, which were maddened by ignorance, and saved them from their diseased condition by making them mad with the nectar from the treasure house of love of God. Let us take full shelter of that personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, whose activities are wonderful. So now, at last, Rupa Goswami has met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayaga. Mahaprabhu embraces him and decides, because in Prayaga, even if you go there now, if anyone's been to the Kumbh Mela or any time you go there, there are big crowds because that's where the Triveni is. So always there's so many crowds, just like here in Vrindavan. And the devotees, they like to find a quiet place to do their bhajan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he decided to go to Dasashvamedha Ghat. It was quiet there on the bank of the Ganga. And it was there for 10 days that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave instructions to Rupa Goswami. Now all of these instructions we can read in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Rupa Goswami that this ocean of devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is immeasurable. It is so broad and so long that nobody can even see the shore of this ocean. I cannot explain the whole ocean to you. I will just take one drop of that ocean and share that with you, and from that one drop, you will be able to understand the qualities of the entire ocean. So within those 10 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave instructions to Rupa Goswami that you'll find in the Nectar of Devotion that Prabhupada has given us. Prabhupada has taken that book, he began translating it many, many years ago when he was still in India, and he would put sections of the book every 2 weeks into his Back to Godhead magazines. So finally, when he came to America, and he had devotees who could help him with the typing and with the printing, that book, and with the publication, he needed money to print. He was able to print that book in 1970. And in the preface, he thanks his disciples. He especially thanks Jayananda Das Brahmachari, who gave $5,000 to print the book. And he thanks the ISKCON press, because by that time we had our own printing press. And we, the devotees, we would do all of from start to finish, all of the work it took to print a book. Binding, collating, everything. So that book was printed by ISKCON Press. And that book was nectar. He said, you turn anywhere. You can start reading anywhere, and it's just like nectar. So we're very fortunate Prabhupada translated that book. And when you read it, all of the essence, it's the law book of the Vaishnavas. But everything that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught in those 10 days, we were just hearing from Madhuha Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started at the very beginning. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. And then from there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested to Rupa Goswami how one receives that Bhakti Lata Bij, how fortunate one is. And then from that Bhakti Lata Bij, how to water it. We as the gardeners, how we have to water our Bhakti Lata when we receive it from the Guru by his mercy, and how it grows and crosses the Viraja river and entangles itself at the lotus feet of Krishna. And then the fruits and the flowers that are produced by the watering, they fall down, and the gardener is still in the material world watering the Bhakti Lata, and he gets to enjoy those fruits and flowers of the Bhakti Lata. So beautiful description. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he begins to describe all of the rasas, the 5 major, the 7 minor, and then the combination of those rasas, giving so many different descriptions from the Shastras. So these 10 days, we get those instructions in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ordered him, because Rupa Goswami was so learned in the Shastras, he wrote 3 different types of books. Just as we have Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So Sambandha, he wrote books about Krishna Tattva. For instance, how to celebrate Janmashtami, different Krishna Leelas, things like that. So that's the Sambandha. Then he wrote Bhakti Tattva. That's the Abhideya, such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We have Upadesh Amrita. These are how one should practice their bhakti. How the 3 different aspects, the devotee, the Lord, and the devotional service between the 2. So that's the Bhakti Tattva. But most important of Rupa Goswami's writings was the Rasa Tattva, and that's the Prayojana. And this is when he manifested to the world the intimate, internal pastimes of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. No one else was able to do that except for Rupa Goswami at this time, because he was coming from the spiritual world. So therefore he could manifest these pastimes in his writings. For instance, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after 10 days, of course Rupa Goswami wanted to stay with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and follow with him back to Puri. But Mahaprabhu said, no, I have other plans for you. You're my disciple. You have to carry out my orders. By carrying out my orders, you'll always be with me. I want you to go to Vrindavan. Now, any disciple would be very happy if their guru said, go to Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami was miserable. He begged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, please, don't send me away. I want to be with you. And Mahaprabhu said, no, I have work for you to do. You have to go to Vrindavan. Let's see. These are the orders that Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Goswami. First, he wanted him to find and establish the lost, ancient, and original deities of Lord Krishna. Because now we're reading about the marriages of Aniruddha in Krishna book. So Aniruddha had a son, and his name was Vrajanabha. And when the entire Yadu dynasty disappeared by Krishna's desire, just as when the Pandavas left and went back to Godhead, they left behind their grandson Parikshit Maharaj. And then on the Yadu side, everyone disappeared except for the son of Aniruddha, who was the great-grandson of Krishna, and his name was Vajranabha Maharaj. And he was put in charge of the Yadus, and he was told to come here to Vrindavan and re-establish all the pastime places in Vrindavan. Because when Krishna took all of the Brijbasis back to Godhead with him, there were no people left here in Vrindavan anymore. Just the monkeys were here, and they're still here. He didn't take them back with him. So the places of Krishna's pastimes were going to disappear. So therefore, Sandilya Rishi, he instructed Parikshit Maharaj, you are the emperor of the world now in Hastinapur, and Vajranabha Maharaj, he must oversee Braja. So Vajranabha Maharaj, the mother of Parikshit Maharaj was still present. And he heard from her what Krishna looked like, because Uttara, she got to see Krishna when he would come to Hastinapur and Indraprastha. So she described the features of Krishna. And Vajranabha Maharaj, before all these places disappeared, he installed deities at all the major Leela sthans. In Mathura, Keshav Dev, in Govardhan, all the different deities, Hari Dev, here in Vrindavan, Govinda Dev, Madan Mohan, Gopinath, all around. You see, even now, when you go around Braj, you'll see, even, let's say we go to Vrindavana, there's the old deities. Their faces have been cut off, their hands have been broken off by the soldiers of Aurangzeb. But Vajranabha Maharaj, he installed deities at every single well, kund, sarovara, Leelastan, Rasastali, all these places, he made the deities. And many of those deities are still all over Braj, and you can see them, but their faces and their hands are broken off by the Muslim invaders many years later. So Vajranabha Maharaj had installed these deities. They were being worshipped. You can read archaeological accounts when the Chinese and other foreigners would come to Mathura. The temple was absolutely magnificent, and they had never seen such wealth. But when the Muslims came and invaded, starting with Babar, gradually all of these deities were either defaced, or if the pujaris and the other devotees were able to, they would hide the deities, just as the Gopal deity that Madhavendra Puri found. Govindaji, Madan Mohan, Gopinath, all of these deities were hidden. They were buried. Balaji, not Balaji, yes, Baladev, he was turned upside down and used by the Dobis to wash the clothes on the shore of the Jamuna, just to hide the deity. So they had different ways of hiding the deities. So that was why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami, you have to find these deities now and establish them again at their places of worship, just as Govinda Dev. The Govinda Dev deity was found right here at Gomatila. The first deity that was found by Sanatana Goswami, he found that deity in Mathura and brought him and installed him as Madan Mohanji, Madan Gopal, and later he became Madan Mohan. And after his brother had installed Madan Mohan, Rupa Goswami was very depressed that I haven't fulfilled the first instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave me, which is to find these ancient deities. He was sitting on the shore of Jamuna here, chanting. He was looking very unhappy. And one beautiful young cowherd boy came to him and said, Baba, why are you so unhappy? And he said, I have not been able to find my Lord Krishna, and I've been told to find the deities. And he said, oh, I know where you can find him. There's a place, Gomatila, and there's a cow who comes every day, and she drops milk on top of this hill. You go there, I'll take you. So the little boy took Rupa Goswami. He showed him the place. He says, every morning you'll see this cow come. And then the boy disappeared. And Rupa Goswami is looking, where did the boy go? And then he got all ecstatic symptoms and realized who this boy was. So the next morning he came to Gomatila, and he saw this beautiful Surabi cow coming to the top of the hill, letting down her milk, and all the milk would immediately go directly into the soil. And then she sauntered off into the forest again. So Rupa Goswami, just as Madhavendra Puri did in Govardhan, he called all the cowherd men and the villagers nearby, and they brought their powders, they brought all their axes, whatever they had, and they uncovered Govinda Dev. And finally, so the first instruction was accomplished then. The second, to rediscover and restore the holy places associated with his Leela in Vrindavan. So again, he was meditating that, where do I find Vrindadevi? She's the orchestrator, she's the Leela Shakti. So she came to Rupa Goswami in a dream, and she told him, you will find me on the banks of Brahmakund. So he went there, he saw a dazzlingly brilliant, beautiful young girl there, and there he found the deity of Vrindadevi, who now you can see at Kamyavan, because again the deities taken to Rajasthan when Aurangzeb decided to destroy all the temples here in the 1600s. So place by place, because the Goswamis, they would not stay in one place. It's not that they had a nice Radha Damodar temple and they would all sit there and take prasadam together every day. No, they were wandering because they were looking for these holy places. And they would stay, there's one description here. Because when whenever the devotees would visit Vrindavan and come back to Puri, the Purivasis would ask, how are Rupa and Sanatan? What are they doing? How are they living? So they would describe that they don't have any fixed residence. They just stay under one tree one night, and they don't even stay together. They stay under different trees in different places. Sometimes Rupa Goswami would invite Sanatan Goswami. We have that beautiful story at in Nandagan. When Rupa Goswami was meditating, he wanted to invite his brother for prasadam, and Radharani, in the guise of just a young village girl, she came and said, oh, my mother, she's having me distribute all these ingredients today. She told me to come and give these to you, and he cooked a big feast, invited Sanatan Goswami, who was over at Pavan Sarovara. Rupa Goswami was at Terkadam writing his books. And Sanatan Goswami, you're in the middle of the jungle. Where did you get all these things? And just near Terkadamba is Jawat, where Radharani lives with her in-laws. And Rupa Goswami said, oh, one beautiful young girl, she came and said her mother was distributing these things today to the sadhus. She brought me all these things. And Sanatan Goswami, he started to cry. He said, you've accepted service from our Thakurani. That was Srimati Radharani, she knew that you had that desire to feed me, and she brought you all these things. Oh, no. So this is the way they live, just from one place to the other. And in the Sadgoswami Astakam, it's described that the Goswamis were so dear to the Brijbasis that the Dhira and the Adhira, both the ruffians and the devotees, they all loved the six Goswamis, particularly Sanatan Goswami. And they would take instructions from them because they were ministers. So whenever there was any quarrel, any conflict, anything, now they have the panchayats. But the six Goswamis, when they would wander from village to village, the villagers would have them make decisions for their village. So in their wandering, they were able to uncover the holy places. And for instance, what Raghunath Das Goswami did at Radhakund and Shamakund, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he revealed where Radhakund and Shamakund are. But then Raghunath Das Goswami, to fulfill those instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he then built them and reconstructed them in that way. Not the way they are now. It was much smaller when Raghunath Das Goswami did that. So they would just stay under one tree, and next night under another. Rupa and Sanatan beg a little food from the houses of Brahmins. Now, what would they eat? They would just eat some dal bati. They wouldn't take the chapatis from the homes. They would take the atta and roll it into, they'd take some Jamuna water, roll it into balls and just throw it into a fire to make bati. That's all. And they take some chickpeas, some chana, fry that, whatever they had. Very simple life. And they were so busily engaged in their bhajan and their writing, they would sleep maybe an hour and a half. And sometimes they wouldn't even be able to do that. They'd be so busy with their writing, constantly chanting the Lord's name. And together they would meet and hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and share their writings together. For instance, now we go on to this writing part. Because the third one is to write and preach Gaudiya Vaishnava theology. So not only did they write, but they trained the other Vaishnavas, just as we've heard many times about the beginning of book distribution. Because Jiva Goswami, when he finally came to Vrindavan, he took initiation from Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami trained him very carefully, and Jiva Goswami edited and proofread his books for him. With great love and sternness as well, Rupa Goswami trained Jiva Goswami. Then Jiva Goswami, he trained the next generation after Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami left this world. So not only were they writing, but they were preaching and they were training the other Vaishnavas. And the amount of books that they wrote, lakhs and lakhs of slokas. If you go to Sanatana Goswami's samadhi, there is a Grantha samadhi there. And the books are kept there in the samadhi. We don't even know how many books they've written. Some people say that Rupa Goswami wrote 14 books. Some of them were anthologies. Anthologies means that he collected from all the different shastras and all of the different saints and sages beautiful slokas and put them together. Some of them were the Krishna Tattva, the Bhakti Tattva, and the Rasa Tattva. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began writing, he started his writing in Vrindavan. And he had a desire then to see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that now you go to Vrindavan and later you come back through Bengal, and from Bengal you can travel with all the devotees when they come to see me for Chaturmas. So Rupa and Anupam, they were waiting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for Sanatana Goswami to reach Vrindavan. But after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami, he then proceeded on and reached Varanasi. In Varanasi, Sanatana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received instructions from him for 2 months. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, you take the main road and you go straight to Vrindavan to meet Rupa, and you start your mission. Now Rupa, in the meantime, he had started his writing. He was waiting for Sanatana Goswami because when Rupa met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, where is Sanatan? And Rupa explained to him what happened, how he was imprisoned. And Mahaprabhu said, he's already out of prison. He'll be arriving soon. So when Mahaprabhu sent Sanatan on the main road to Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami, he and Anupam, they followed the Ganga route. And they crossed paths. They were on 2 different roads. So as Sanatan was going to Vrindavan, Rupa and Anupam were coming on the Ganga road, the path, to Bengal, because they wanted to reach Puri. So they didn't meet, and when they reached Bengal, Anupam left his body. And it took some time for Rupa to arrange for the death ceremony. We all know it takes time. And by the time he reached to where the devotees lived, Navadvip and Shantipur, they had already left for Puri. So he traveled alone to Puri. While he was in Vrindavan, he was carrying out the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began his writing. And the first book that he wanted to write was a description of Krishna's pastimes all together, Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. So he started to write this drama with the full pastimes of Krishna in it. When he reached Orissa, there's a town called Satyabhamapura. So he was resting there for one night, and that night he had a dream of a beautiful woman, and she came to him and said, I want you to write a drama separate, only about me. And when Rupa Goswami woke up, he realized that this is Satyabhamapura, this must have been Satyabhama, and he decided at that time that I will divide this drama into two different parts, into Vrindavan Leela and into Dwarka Leela, to satisfy the instruction of Satyabhama. So when he finally reached Puri, he went first to the place of Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Goswami, because they had, especially Rupa and Sanatana, they had been ostracized by the Brahminical society, they did not want to even contaminate, in case the pujaris and the other servants of Jagannath were coming on the road, in case they touched them. So they stayed far away near the ocean where Haridas Thakur stayed. And they wouldn't enter the temple, none of them entered the temple, they would just have darshan of the chakra on top. And because they wouldn't enter the temple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would come every day to that place to give them darshan. They didn't go see Krishna, Krishna came to see them. So he was staying there, and Haridas Thakur informed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there's Rupa offering you obeisances with the straw in his mouth there. He's just arrived. And Mahaprabhu was so happy to see him. He embraced him, and they had wonderful talks together. And it was the time of the Ratha Yatra. So Mahaprabhu, he used to sing a particular prayer during Ratha Yatra. And it was just like we have our filmy terjes, you know, and we hear them all day, you know, people are playing their radios and things. It's just mundane music, love stories and things like that. So Mahaprabhu was singing, it sounded like a mundane lover speaking together, lover and beloved. The translation was, that very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Rewa. Rewa is a river, under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. So here was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in front of the carts of Jagannath, singing this mundane love song, and nobody could understand why he was singing it. But they didn't question him. Nobody asked him why. Only Srila Damodar could understand what the meaning of the song was. But Rupa Goswami, when he heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu singing it, he went back to his little bhajan kutir where he was staying, and on a piece of, they wrote on palm leaves, the chitra, what's it called, chitra pata? Bhojpata, yes. So he wrote his understanding of that sloka. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Jamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within that forest of Vrindavan. So he wrote this beautiful sloka, and he put it in the roof of the kutir, and then he went to take bath at the ocean. And meanwhile, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he saw the palm leaf, took it out, read it, and he said, Swarup Damodar, how could Rupa understand my heart like this? And Swarup Damodar said, well, you must have empowered him. So two things. Rupa Goswami was the recipient of two things from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu: his mercy and his potency. By his mercy, Rupa Goswami was able to understand the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and was able to express that in his writings. So then, Mahaprabhu told Rupa in the assembly of devotees that the Vasudev Krishna in Dwarka is not the same as Nanda Kumar. They're different. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, and you should never take Krishna out of Vrindavan. So then, when Rupa Goswami heard that, he understood that his realization was correct, that there had to be two separate dramas. So one was Vidagdha Madhava, that's the purely Vrindavan Leela, with the Padakiya Ras, and the other is Lalita Madhava, which is the Dwarka Leela, the feelings of intense separation from Krishna. So after Rupa Goswami wrote this Lalita Madhava, he was reading the different slokas of these two dramas, and Ramananda Roy, Swarup Damodar, all of the great pure Vaishnavas, associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were just so amazed and impressed at how Rupa Goswami was able to understand all of these leelas and put them into his writings. So when he finished that Lalita Madhava, by the time he finished it, he was back in Vrindavan. He spent 3 months in Puri, or 10 months. I think it was 10 months in Puri with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this would be the last time that he was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only 3 times they met. Just like Prabhupada, although Prabhupada was the full recipient of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's mercy and received the potency to preach all over the world, Prabhupada said, I only got to spend about 10 days with my spiritual master. So Rupa Goswami, he had 3 meetings at Ramakeli, Prayaga, and then at Puri. So when he returned to Puri, he gave that Lalita Madhava to Raghunath Das Goswami to read later when Raghunath Das Goswami came. And that book, he would not leave it for a moment. He would just cry and read that book. And when Rupa Goswami asked him for it back, he refused to give it back to him. So then Rupa Goswami, in order to get the book back, he wrote another book, Danakeli Komudi, which is the funny pastimes, the tax pastimes. And he told Raghunath Das Goswami, I've written a new book, read this book now. So then he gave back Lalita Madhava. And then Raghunath Das was so happy reading that book that all of his crying stopped, and he was just enjoying the pleasure pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Because Lalita Madhava is full of, it's just all separation. So that was why it had affected him so much. So when Jiva Goswami finally came, Rupa Goswami was training him to carry on the the Vaishnav Sampradaya, the Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya. But everyone considers that Rupa Goswami, there were two Senapatis, that's Sanatan and Rupa Goswami, and of the two, Rupa Goswami, he was the leader of the Vaishnavas. And therefore, Vaishnavas are called Rupanugas. So Prabhupada has an explanation of what Rupanuga actually means. I think it's after this. No? Just have to find it because this will help us. Yes. So, Rupa Goswami, he said, although I am the lowest of men and have no knowledge, the inspiration to write transcendental literatures about devotional service has been mercifully bestowed upon me. Therefore, I am offering my obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given me the chance to write these books. So, in purport to this sloka by Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada says, we always request members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to publish as many books as possible and distribute them widely throughout the world. By thus following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, one can become a Rupanuga devotee. So this is the formula that Prabhupada has given us for becoming real Rupanugas. Rupa Goswami, he wrote so many books. Srila Prabhupada, he took those books and the other books such as Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, so many books. The same order is there, to print the books and to distribute the books. So that is how we can become Rupanugas, by assisting Rupa Goswami through the disciplic succession. Now Srila Prabhupada is in the 10th generation coming from Rupa Goswami. And we, as the next generation, we carry on the exact same instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Goswami. You write these books, and then you teach the devotees. So we're doing that through publishing the books, Prabhupada's books, distributing the books, and assisting in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So now in present day, when Prabhupada first came back in 1967 after he had his stroke. He came back in May because it's very hot and he was able to regain his strength from the heat and taking medicines. And he took one devotee with him only, that was Kirtanananda. And at the Radha Damodar temple, he gave Kirtanananda sannyas initiation. Then, in 1970, Prabhupada took a whole group of devotees to India to start the World Sankirtan Party. They toured all over India for one whole year, and finally he brought them to the Radha Damodar temple in 1971. And they got to serve Prabhupada in his room there. In one room, Srila Prabhupada's rooms in the Radha Damodar temple, there is a window that overlooks the shaded courtyard where the two tomb-like structures that honor Rupa Goswami, that's his samadhi and his bhajan kutir, they're both there. Just before this window is a bare wooden asan. That's where Prabhupada used to sit, where Srila Prabhupada sat to receive inspiration from the greatest of the Goswamis. So Prabhupada explained, I used to look through the window at the tomb of Rupa Goswami. It was too much ecstatic. So when Rupa Goswami departed on this day, that's the month of Shravan. What day is it? Well, on that day, it will be coming up, the Dwadasi, yes. In 1564, so he was entombed there. Not only Rupa Goswami is there, but Jiva Goswami is there, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is there, Bhugarbha Goswami is there, and there's a whole Samadhi Kund. Even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he has his Pushpa Samadhi there. So Prabhupada brought his devotees in 1971, and they got to serve him there. And then in 1972, Srila Prabhupada had the first Kartik festival. The whole month of Kartik, Prabhupada had, it was 40 to 50 devotees. That's how, not many devotees in those days. So he had them come every day, morning and evening, and he would speak Nectar Devotion in one class and Srimad Bhagavatam in another class. And in that way, at the place of Rupa Goswami, he was able to, we still have those tapes, beautiful tapes of the Nectar Devotion series. So for that 1 month, the devotees got to stay with Prabhupada at his place at Radha Damodar. They stayed at the Lakshmi Rani Kunj at Keshigat and would walk every morning to be with Prabhupada. They would also come here every day on Sankirtan because they were starting the construction then. And here it is. From 1956 to 1965, I was in Vrindavan. I would sit at Radha Damodar and chant Hare Krishna and see the samadhi of Rupa Goswami, and I would type and cook a little. These samadhis are the best in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. They gave me inspiration to go to the West. I have 100 places to go now, but I still like it here. Prabhupada called the Radha Damodar temple, established by Rupa Goswami, the hub of the spiritual universe, because that was the place when the Goswamis did come together. They would meet there in this courtyard to discuss Krishna consciousness and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Daily, Prabhupada would gaze upon Rupa Goswami's samadhi while sitting at his asan. Many years later, Prabhupada said that he received great inspiration from Rupa Goswami and that the plans for the Krishna consciousness movement were formulated during his years at Radha Damodar. So we have great gratitude not only to Srila Prabhupada, the entire Vaishnava Sampradaya, and especially to Srila Rupa Goswami. By his inspiration, Srila Prabhupada formulated this Krishna consciousness movement and was empowered by Rupa Goswami to come to the West and uplift us all. He had prayed to Rupa Goswami for strength to take Krishna consciousness to the West. After taking it to the West, fulfilling his spiritual master's instructions, Prabhupada then brought Krishna consciousness back to Vrindavan, back to India, and we are fortunately sitting all here today by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami. Hare Krishna. Jai. Any questions? All right. All glories to Srila Rupa Goswami. Hare Krishna.